Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's NMeade here. Happy New Year as we now enter into 2021. Last year I analyzed and reacted to all of the current world records entering 2020, and we're back once more to do it all over again, heading now into 2021. If you guys want to watch how the world records stood last year, I'll leave that video linked in the description below. This is a very laid back and relaxed video, watching through all the current time trial world records entering January 1st, 2021. Timestamps are included below in case you want to go to any specific track along the way to jump around as you please. As always, there are many helpful resources for Mario Kart Wii time trials linked in the description. With all that said, let's get started. Alrighty, we are of course starting off with Luigi Circuit 108774 by Cole, and this was done November 26th of 2019. I'm definitely not surprised that this was not beaten during 2020. This is still an extremely strong time. I think maybe in 2020 Casey inched a little bit closer to beating Cole's time, but he's still a little bit further behind. And as far as in 2021, maybe Cole might come out of the woodworks and maybe throw in one or two improvements here, as he does sporadically, just randomly throughout any type of year. But honestly, this could really stand for a very long time. I think other than Casey, I really don't know if anyone else would really come all that close to beating Cole's time here. And, you know, I think there's around 150 milliseconds of wiggle room between this current time and the best known splits, but even then, that's asking for far too much, I feel. This run already is so beautiful. It's really excellently well done by Cole. And that wheelie strategy is just one of the hardest things to do on this track. Apart from trying to time all the chains and the very, jank turns with the coping over here, it seems like, to the untrained eye, it's going all nice and smooth on all these turns. But please believe there's a lot of very specific things that are required to have this go as good as it does. So with that being said, I don't think this is falling in 2021. Heading now to Moo Moo Meadows, we have a 1:15.483 by Sosis, and this was set on November 2nd of 2019. So this was not improved during 2020, and for good reason. This is a very strong time. I know I say that a lot of times, and honestly, when I say that about a lot of times, I really mean it, but this track is just so hard to optimize. From the soft drifts that we're doing around the fence turns here to the low jumps and especially the last turn, there's just so many things to really just do nice and crisp and refined all 3 laps. And I think Sosis really helped hit this very well with this time with a 1:15.483. I think he could definitely, go down to a 1:15.3. He's definitely capable of that by far. I think he's failed some better pace runs than this when he was still time trialing on this back in 2019. But for now, this could really stand for a very long time again, I feel. As far as who might be able to come up and maybe improve it, I think I could do it if I gave this a really, hard run at it. I think I could get pretty close. Apart from that, I think Blaze and also Paul can definitely get very close to this and contend for the record. I think they're both second and third worldwide respectively right now. But as it stands, if Sosis doesn't play this, I don't think anyone else will really contend this for all of 2021. So I'm going to say this is not going to go down in 2021 either. I have a feeling. So both this and LC are not going down in 2021. Up next, we have Mushroom Gorge Glitch. We have a 2519. This is done by Bryce. This was set on August 3rd of 2020. And this time already as it is freaking crazy. This is one of my favorite times to watch by far. Just for the absurdity of watching this go around the rock all 3 laps and just not fall until the finish line. Like I'm just so perplexed as actually a feasibility in this game. But I think there's still a good amount to go for improvement here. I think by over a second, I believe. And I believe Bryce does want to come back eventually for a 19-second time here. And I think Bryce has said he has had several 19-second fails here in the past. So it's definitely in the cards. I'd say entering 2021, I'm going to say this is going to be improved. Will a 19-second time be done? I'm not really too sure. But I think this will have at least one improvement in 2021. I have a feeling. I definitely do. Now we head to Mushroom Gorge No Glitch. We have a 147.80 done by Connor, and this was set on October 21st of 2020. We had a lot of developments here in 2020, most notably with the hopless gap being a thing and the first 140 times being achieved for the world records here. And I'm still at this belief that even beyond the first 140 here, it's still being improved. And you know, I think Connor wants to get a 0.6 here, from if my memory serves me right. And he did some recent streams from this, I think in the beginning of December, I feel, or maybe around November or so. But definitely Connor can improve this once more. He's definitely in top form right now. And I think Daniel can still contend this once more if he tries to gun for it again. Whether this will be taken down in 2021, I feel like it will, most definitely. I think it's going to be either Connor or Daniel. It's going to have at least one improvement here. That's kind of my prediction right now. But man, it's such a graceful run. Just all the perfect drifting tricks, especially I think how Connor and Daniel do this turn in the cave is highly underrated. Like, oh man, it's just so smooth, and it's like I don't know. It's hard to convey from having the context of me being an active player in the game and trying to describe to someone who maybe never played the game ever before in your entire life. Just the sheer difficulty of trying to keep just one solid gliding soft drift on that turn in particular amongst everything else. Really just the level that all these records are at right now is just nothing short of incredible. So always major props and hats off to all the players who are improving all these times month after month. But yeah, I think Connor will definitely try and improve this in 2021. As mentioned, I think Daniel might make a run again, potentially in 2021. And this is definitely going to go down once more, I think, in this year. Finishing off the Mushroom Cup, we have Toad's Factory, starting off with the shortcut category. It's 144.671 done by Logan, less than 2 weeks ago, done on December 19th of 2020. Now, there is a new shroom strategy that's done here. Now they are doing the shortcut on laps 1 and 2 instead of laps 1 and 3. And from what I've heard from either, I think it was Logan or Ross, I think this strategy can yield a low 144 time, if I recall that correctly. And I'm still just in awe that this is possible just in general on this track. Like, look at that, a moving target, you go over the wall, clip back in, hit nothing on the red conveyor belt. Like that's one of the most satisfying things to watch in the entire game, I feel, in my opinion. But as you can see here, you have to kind of throw some time away to make sure you're not going too fast for the crate on lap 2. If you simply show too fast, then the crate is not going to be in position for you to actually clip off it on lap 2. And in the end, this is still faster than doing it on laps 1 and 3. So I wonder where this is actually going to, go down to at this point. Because look at that. That shortcut on laps 1 and 2 were very, very good. And I think lap 3, Logan gets a full chain wheelie at the crate section on lap 3 as well. And his lap 3 is very, very clean from what I can remember watching this a couple of days ago. So at this point, will this be improved again in 2021? I feel like it might be a possibility at this point. I don't know if it was Ross that initially did this strategy and then Logan improved his own record. I don't know what really came first. But either way, I think there's still a little bit more that can be squeezed out, but that's, kind of asking for a lot. Especially because there's still pace slots because you have to be at a certain time on lap 2 to actually go off the crate. It's still unfortunate that we're kind of pace slots to not be able to do this 3 for 3, you know what I mean? But either way, very, very clean time. And this might go down in 2021 once more. We'll see. Now we head to the no shortcut world record on Toad's Factory. It's 149.245 done by Luke, and this was set on April 5th of 2020. And this run is incredibly strong. From what I can recall when Luke was streaming this earlier in the year, I think his goal was a 149.1, which is absolutely absurd. And in the end, I think he just happily stopped here at a lower 0.2. And to be honest, I really can't blame him. This is just an absurdly strong time. And I think asking for more is just really, really chipping away. I feel like it's getting to the level of like a Mario Circuit 3, kind of, in a way. I really don't think a 148 can happen with the current strategies that are used. There's a couple of variables for, minor improvements, but either way, he does everything so crisp and precise in this run that, I think the current best known splits, they give only like a high of 149.0. So without any major strategy change, I don't see this going down by a large amount, if at all, in 2021. If Luke himself tries to give this a stab again, he might be able to improve it by just a little bit. I think he failed ever so slightly faster paces, either before or after this time, before he set it down for good. But for me, just predicting right now, I don't see this going down in 2021. This is absurdly strong. I think Logan, Barney, and also Connor have tried to improve their times. I think they are, second through fourth in the worldwide top 10 right now, and all world class players. I don't think they were specifically going for the world record, but those were the last active people at the top end of the worldwide tops, behind Luke's time in the past year. So I think those would be the ones to contend Luke's record here. But I think it's just simply at a point now where I don't see it being improved this year. I really don't. This is just an insane time as it is right now. So yeah, that is Toad's Factory, no shortcut. Heading now to the Flower Cup, we're starting off on Mario Circuit, the glitch category. We have 48394 done by Logan, and this was set on November 14th of 2020. And now this is, a very recent record where it's using the new strategy on lap 1 found by Justin. And this strategy is just so cool. It's so wicked to look at. I'm just going to let you guys watch it. Let's check this out. God. It's just so many bumps are happening all at once. The sound effects makes it even more, bizarre among just the visual of that. But yeah, this is the current state of where Mario Circuit glitches now. And honestly, it just, gosh, this is definitely one of my favorite times to watch at this point. It's just so visually there's a lot going on all 3 laps with the glitch entries. There is room for improvement into the 47-second range. Definitely Logan, Dez, and Bryce, all 3 could definitely do the job if all 3 try to give this a run in 2021. And we'll see what happens. I know Justin didn't have any plans after discovering the strategy in lap 1 to push any further. He definitely knew that a 47-second time is possible with the strategy. I think, from what I remember Justin saying, it's more so just like a proof of concept for him that it can be done in a run. And he did it, and he got the world record this year, Justin finding the strategy. So I think this will see an improvement in 2021. By who, I'm not really too sure, but I think this might be seeing some activity in the coming year. Heading now to Mario Circuit No Glitch, we have a 120.839 done by Guy. This was done on June 15th of 2020. This was one of the biggest surprises for me in 2020, because the previous world record done by Guy as well was one of the last remaining 2018 world records out of all the tracks. And this was a very pleasant surprise. Guy has just driven this track down to such an amazing standard over the years, and to see him grace the track once more and try and push the bounds even further was definitely very exciting to see. As far as this being improved in 2021, I feel like there might be an improvement here. I feel like this is the year that Casey will get his first world record overall. Casey is second worldwide both here and also on Luigi Circuit. I think Casey's time here is done in the past, like I think 3 months or less, I believe. So Casey is still actively trying this track if my memory serves me right. So I think this is the year that Casey pulls through and gets the job done for his first world record here. I know Guy plays the game on and off, doesn't really play all that often, but it'll be a cool battle to see between both Guy and Casey here to see how that would go. But this track is one of the most graceful spear tracks in the game for a time trial, in my opinion, and just the way they have the mastery on the ramp strat now, it's just insane. There's so many different variables that are going into it that it takes such a long time to really explain what's really going on. But Either way, this is a very, very strong time as it is right now, so we'll see what 2021 brings for Mario Circuit No Glitch. Heading now to Coconut Mall, we are starting off with the glitch category. We have a 31481 done by Breakson. This was set on July 7th of 2019. I'm definitely not surprised at all that this stood for all of 2020 without being defeated. This is a very, very, very strong time here for Coconut Mall, and I think this will also stand for 2021. I don't think there's any reason why that Breakson would try this once more, and I don't think anyone is actively trying this in the upper part of the worldwide top 10 right now on this track. I simply just don't see this being in 2021. It's such an optimized time as it is right now. I think the best on splits give almost a 30-second time, but that's really asking for a lot. This is just such a strong and wicked time. So I really don't see Breakson trying this in 2021, and neither will anyone else. I don't think so. Heading now to the no glitch category of Coconut Mall, we also have Breakson back. He holds the world record for both the glitch and no glitch categories of this track. No glitch is a 155.573 set on June 9th of 2020. And 2020 was Breakson's breakout year for no glitch on this track, getting the world record here for the first time in this category and chipping the time down to the 155.5 time we see here on the screen right now. And I believe Breakson has wanted a little bit more here, but I think he's definitely satisfied with hitting the 0.5. It's just such a sick time. Like, this is one of my favorite tracks to watch by far. Just for all the hard tech that is on this track, just being done so gracefully. Like, man, I cannot describe how hard doing it like that perfectly. Oh my gosh, man. I can't do these tricks myself just based on the controller that I use. It's a personal anecdote here, but man, it's just something about seeing someone that has such a masterful take on the track for any track in the game. That doesn't matter what it is, but especially this track, it's just, man, there's so many things can go wrong on this track with all the strats that are being used now, and seeing where the time has been pushed right now is something short of insane. And Breakson always gives awesome feedback for all the records that he sets whenever he does. And with that, guys, we have a monthly video series on the channel. In case you guys are new here, we review all the monthly world record activity for Mario Kart Wii, and the one for December 2020 is actually coming out later this week. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel to be able to see when that is uploaded, and you can see it right away. And yeah, guys, 2021 is going to be a major year for the channel and more for time trials. And yeah, I think this track, it'll be improved this year. Either by Breakson or I'm going to say Justin. Because Justin is almost second worldwide here. He performs extremely well in the online TT mode as well. I think both Breakson and Justin might be the ones to improve this a little bit further. I think it's in the cards. If Ace comes back to the game, he'll definitely be a third contender here to try and get the record back. But I think there's a lot more activity in store here for Coconut Mall in 2021. Now we head to DK Summit. We have a 145.456 done by Blake. And this was done on January 30th of 2020. And this was definitely a major shocker of a world record for me personally in 2020. This is Blake's first world record here on this track since 2016, and it also defeated one of the last remaining 2018 world records out of all the tracks. And Blake has been very diligent with his streams. You know, every couple weeks he's grinding out all the attempts, and he's failed some awesome runs on his stream. He's such a talented player here, and it was so hyped to see him come back. Like, he's one of the OGs from 2008. And he's one of the original pioneers here in pushing the bounds on the DK Summit. So definitely 2021, we're going to see a lot more activity here, I feel. I think we're going to see the 144 this year done by Blake. I'm calling it right now. He's just been hitting some of the most wicked, insane laps. And I think his best laps give like close to a 143, I think, like a 144.1 or something at this point. It's like 34.7s, like low sevens for all three laps, I think. So absolutely insane. So yeah, like, oh gosh, this track is another track where it's so satisfying to watch because so many hard things are going on at once, and it's kind of hard to comprehend what's actually going on unless you kind of slow it down a little bit, you know, if you're not used to watching these times here. But definitely the hardest thing that is on this track is the shortcut that's done in the middle of the lap, doing that full speed. That's called the Jimmy cut. And normally you kind of hop on the first chasm and you drift into the second one. But if you see here, after doing that double trick there, all these insanely fast snowman tricks, he drifts, barely slows down, spin drifts, hops off here, preserves all that speed, lands, and goes into the zipper, doing the wheelie zipper, which is actually very, very hard, and completes the run. So yeah, this is a very, very hard track with all the tech that's involved. And Blake is still very hard at work here trying to improve his time. He's definitely very, very overdue for an improvement here by almost a year now for being how diligent he is here on this track. So definitely in 2021, we'll see at least one improvement here, I feel. And I think we'll see the 144. I have faith in you, Blake. I definitely do. Now rounding off the Flower Cup, we have Wario's Gold Mine, starting off with the glitch category of 32079, done by McRaran, and this was set on May 5th of 2020, and this was such a pleasant surprise. So back in 2019, McRaran reclaimed the world record here for the first time, I think in 9 years, and it was so hyped to see him come back and try to reclaim it again in 2020. And I believe McRaran has actually tied this exact world record time. I think he's at 2:32.079s, and he has been 31-second run fails here. So I think a 31-second time will be done in 2021. I think McRaran will get the job done if McRaran tries for more attempts here. But definitely Logan could do it as well. I think both Logan and McRaran have both had 31-second runs here perish somewhere on lap 3. So yeah, I think there's more to come here. But man, this is another track where this is one of the most iconic type of glitches done. You know, back when Mr. Bean found the initial glitch on this track of the respawn, that was right in the beginning of 2009. And I was actually part of that glitch craze myself. I got the second worldwide myself back with the much older version of glitching this track. And seeing it now optimized 3-for-3 pipe bounce this quick off, you know, off the wall like that, just barely hitting the checkpoint, going to the finish line, it's just insane. So yeah, it's very crazy at this point in 2021 with this record, but I think we'll see the first 31-second world record here in 2021, either by McRaran or by Logan. Heading now to Wario's Gold Mine No Glitch, we have a 155.79 set by Vincent, and this was done on June 18th of 2019. Definitely no surprises here that this was not defeated during 2020. And I don't think this will be beaten in 2021 either. I don't think there's any reason for Vincent to come back here, and I just don't see anyone else contesting this time. It's just so strong. I think Vincent has set this to such a standard where I don't think anyone else will try long enough to try and take this down. I think if anything at this point, I think it might require players to try adding in one of the task strategies, which is actually upcoming near the end of the lap. So after the wall bounce here, when you do the drift after the last minecart, you can actually get a slip drift right over here if done correctly. You can add in an extra main turbo before the boost pad. And I think Vincent himself has said that that could save maybe like 30 to 50 milliseconds a lap, perhaps. Maybe if Vincent watches this, maybe Vincent can correct me in the comments below. I think that's what Vincent has said at one point as far as how much that actually saves if done optimally. But at this point, I simply don't see this being beaten. This is just one of the strongest times on the entire world record timesheet, in my opinion. I once had a world record here, you know, many years ago, and to see where this is at now with all the current strategies, this is just an insane time. And watching Vincent grind this track, let alone any other track, is super fun to see as always. And he really grinded for this time for a very long time, and rightfully so got such a sick time here. Vincent can definitely improve it if he just grinded for a very long time once more, but I think it's going to be diminishing returns here as far as how much you're actually going to chip off. I think it's going to be so hard to get a 150.4 here without adding any other strategy here. And I think the only other strategy to really add in at this point is that extra main turbo there. There is like an ultra low jump near the wall bounce that I think is like way too precise to try and throw in realistically. So this time won't go down in 2021. That's my current prediction. Heading now to the Star Cup, we are of course starting off on Daisy Circuit, we have a 128.425 done by Luke, and this was done on August 12th of 2019. And also no surprise here, this was not taken down during 2020, and I don't think this time it's going down either in 2021. This is also another one of the strongest world records on the current world record timesheet, in my opinion. This is such a graceful and sick run on this track. It gets 2 stair dives, and the rest of the driving is just something else. Luke really just sent this track to a whole different level after setting this time when he did in 2019. And I don't see any reason why Luke would try and come back here to improve the time. You're pretty much required to get at least 2 stair dives, I think, being at almost a 128.3. I'm pretty sure. I think Luke has hit high 0.4s without a stair dive, so I think you're required to get at least 2 now at this point, I feel. And I think, I would say the pinnacle of a run here is getting 3 for 3 stair dives and having this level of driving, but I think that's just such a hard thing to chase at this point, where I think the time sync might be better suited elsewhere for Luke if he were to try this once more, and I just don't see anyone else really contesting this in 2021. So I think, if Luke were to never play the game ever again for like 5 years or something, and then come back in 2025 or 2026, like I think this time would still stand. Like this time is just insane for what it is. So yeah, it's just my humble opinion. This is one of the strongest times by far on the entire world record timesheet. So yeah, amazing run here. Super awesome to watch this back once more. And yeah, that's my prediction for 2021. Heading now to Koopa Cape, we have a 2:17.955 also done by Luke, and this was set on March 11th of 2020. And this is Luke's first time getting Koopa Cape, and this was very exciting seeing the first 2:17 times here. The first 2:17 was done by Justin back in December 2019. And I think Luke overall grinded very, very long, I think for around 4 or 5 months for this, so quite a long grind for Luke here, and he finally pulled out in the end in 2020. And from what I can remember, I think Luke said that he could definitely push this down a fair bit more. So I think if Luke chooses to play this once more in 2021, we might see another improvement here. Definitely, I think if Justin were to try and contend and beat it back, that could also be a possibility. There's still, a fair bit more to be improved here. I think the current best zone splits give a lower 2:17 time. And, where this track currently stands right now, it's just so jarring to see this time compared to what it was maybe in like mid 2009 or so, where there are no shroomless cuts, no pipe strategies at the end. You're just doing the humble little shroom cut at the middle of the, the lap in the water stream, and now all the iterations up until this point into 2021 is just really crazy. I think this is one of the most transformed tracks in terms of tech for a no glitch track, in my opinion. And it just goes to show that, over time, in this game and other games, that, strat progression and the meta changing and new strategies and techniques being discovered, and just seeing the, the way paved for newer times to be set. And it's just so cool to compare how things were like over 10 years ago now to where it is right now. And I think definitely Luke can push this a little bit further, but I really want to be surprised if this actually isn't being in 2021, just for the sheer fact that so much can go wrong on this track of all tracks. This is definitely one of the jankiest tracks in my opinion, and definitely one of the more tech heavy tracks too, in my opinion as well. But I think if Luke were to choose to play this once more, I think he might push it down to like a 0.0 or a 0.7 in 2021. But again, I would not be surprised at all if this is not defeated in 2021. So we will see. I mean, honestly, I was wrong for a lot of my predictions last year. Like, honestly, I think over 20 of the world records we're going to see were set in 2020. So a lot more times were beaten than I thought. So we'll see what 2021 brings here for Koopa Cape. Heading now to Maple Treeway, we are starting off on the glitch category. We have a 1:45.448 done by Justin, and this was set on June 19th of 2020. This was definitely one of the more surprising records to be done in 2020 as well, in my opinion. I did not expect Justin to just roll up and improve it by almost over 2 seconds again from his previous record and done in 2019. And, getting Justin's feedback here back in June, he really didn't, think this run as being anything all that special. I think he said he could pull off like almost like a 140 here, like 5 seconds faster, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, the one shimmer here, as you guys are going to see, is one of the hardest things to do in the game by far. And I think at this point, only like maybe, 5 players have done a 2 for 3 glitch run here, I think. I think it's Justin, Breakson, Troy, and maybe 2 more. Oh, God, I really can't remember anymore with the top 10. But this is such a hard thing to pull off. I think he does it on lap 2. Let's give it a watch. Let's see. Okay, no. All right, so Justin does it into lap 3. Okay. You guys saw I wasn't going to bust out the let's give it a watch in this video, did you? Oh, man. If you guys watched this video from last year, you guys would get that reference. But, yeah. Coming up here, the one shimmer is just nutty. It's just nutty. Just check this out. The hard entry with the spear, clunky and fast. Now check this out. Turnaround blind shroom, boom, like, good grief, man. Just, oh my gosh. It's just insane. It's just insane to me watching this back. But yeah, Justin might roll up with another 2-second improvement in 2021, who for all we know. But if not, I just don't see why Justin would play this again in 2021. But other than that, I don't think those would be beaten in 2021. Heading now to Maple Treeway No Glitch, we have a 2:14.836 done by Demon. This was set on March 28th of 2020. And 2020 was the big year that Demon came back and started grinding this track once more. And he defeated one of the last remaining 2018 world records. That was his own record here, actually. And Demon has been very, very hard at work here, diligently, for a fair amount of 2020, actually, even past this current record here. And I'm so happy for Demon that he pulled through for a 2:14 here. Demon is most definitely the best player to ever touch hands on this track by far. I had the world record here many times myself, and he is most definitely the best player to ever grace this track ever. And it's just so cool to watch his streams. He's just so consistent here, so good here, and he's due for another humongous improvement here. I think if Demon continues into 2021, I think he's going to hit at least a 2:13 here. And I think his ultimate super goal here on this track is beating the first glitch time world record of like a mid 2:12, I believe. And he has the splits for it, and that could totally be done. They seem far-fetched, but it can definitely happen with 3 for 3 shroomless cuts and very, very good driving. And if anyone's equipped for the task, it's definitely Demon here for sure. But yeah, Demon is just built different here in Maple Treeway by far, and that's coming from me. So he's just so good here. And yeah, I think at this point, just optimizing the turn skip further with the mushrooms here, I think you can get at least a 2:13. But hitting into the 2:12 echelon definitely requires these shroomless cuts, which are way hard to do. Even just 1, let alone 3. So yeah, but I think Demon has been going for shroomless cuts on and off in the past year too as well. So he's definitely practicing the muscle memory to try and do it for future runs. So we'll see what happens here. But on the topic of Maple Treeway, I'm having a series, the Time Trial Lab is going to be coming this month. So it's almost done already. From what I wanted the series to be for that to what it actually is right now, it's actually completely different. So you guys will find out later this month, because the reason why I say on this track is because the first episode is on this track, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. It's on Maple Treeway for the Time Trial Lab. So yeah, more to come. But good luck to Demon for 2021 here in Maple Treeway. I think a big improvement is in store here. Now finishing the Star Cup, we have Grumble Volcano, starting off with the glitch category of 16.133, set by Niyaki, and this was done on October 25th of 2020. And apologies in advance, I can never pronounce Niyaki's name correctly, so I just want to throw that out there to begin with. Either way, this is the fastest 3-lap world record in the entire game of 16 seconds, just barely. And the second fastest is Mushroom Gorge of barely over 20 seconds. And this is just racing around the rock, just drifting and hopping around for 3 laps, and then it's done. So yeah, this is quite a crazy time. Niaki has failed some 15-second runs overall in 2020, and it's been so refreshing to see, you know, just a long-standing titan of Grumble Volcano such as Niaki here adopting to the newer Quacker strategy. I think was first done, I think in early 2019, I'm pretty sure, and he's just taking this track under his reign once more and just advancing it further. So I think a 15-second time will happen here in 2021 by yours truly right here in Niaki. So good luck to him, and we'll see what happens. And now we have Grumble Volcano, no glitch. We have a 151.585 done by Jared, and this was set on September 20th of 2020. And this is Jared's first world record on Grumble Volcano, and this run is awesome. And even with that said, Jared has more room for improvement here, just based on his feedback from, I remember, back in September for the monthly world record series. And this track is just really, really hard to get right. These drifting, drifting tricks off the ramps over here, also optimizing this cave turn right over here, as well as the exit, just the soft drifting is just insane. Oh my gosh, it's just so mesmerizing to see just, people who have just such mastery of the pure driving techniques in the game and just executing so masterfully. It's just so cool to see, especially on this track, because this track is very, very bumpy, very janky, and these orange ramps in particular just function really, really oddly, and there's still more room for improvement here. And I think at this point in 2021, I think we'll see one improvement here. I think it'll be by Jared, by Connor, or I'm going to throw in Blaze as well. Blaze plays once in a while, not so much anymore, but definitely I'm counting on Blaze here. Blaze could definitely come back and try and contend, I feel. Along with Jared and Connor here. But the battles here in the past like 2 or 3 years have been actually very, very fun to watch. I mean, we've had in the past we've had Fox, we've had Barney, Connor, Blaze, and now Jared in the mix here. It's been a lot of fun watching this track with the competition over the past couple of years. So as far as unused strategies, I believe streaming at the end, like not in this run, but like right before the finish line, is actually a bit faster than this, but it's very, very hard and precise to do. It's a task strategy. So at this point, I think this will be improved at least once in 2021. By who? It'll be to be determined, but I think it'll be by Jared, Connor, or Blaze. Heading now to the Special Cup, we start off on Dry Ruins. We have a 147.173 done by Luke, performed on October 4th of 2019. And I'm not surprised that this was not defeated in 2020. This is a very strong time. There's definitely more room for improvement now that the ending tomb strategy has been implemented with the wheelie, as you guys will see. But either way, Infy's time here stood for so long without being contested, and Luke was able to break through that barrier, and I don't think anyone else has been actively trying this track in the upper end of the worldwide top 10 for quite some time now. And I think 146 is definitely going to be in the cards to be performed at some point. If Luke decides to return here in 2021, I think he could definitely do it. I think he actually had at least 1 or 2 fails, either after this run or before he set this run. And gosh, just that ending sequence is just so insane to watch. Just doing the shroomless, the tomb strategy with the wheelie is just, oh my goodness, it's just insane. So he only does it on lap 1. From what I can recall, it is faster to do it on laps 1 and 3, I think, because he does the ultra into lap 3. Okay, I just had to remind myself of what actually happens here. So yes, he does the well, it's called the ultra, but it's not like an ultra shortcut. It's just what we've coined it since 2008. It's just kind of held true for almost 13 years now. But either way, the ultra, quote unquote, is a 3 streamer up over here, which was actually done only for the fast lap strategy in 2008. And I believe it wasn't until, I think, UK player Tim, shout out to Tim, Timothy, back in 08-09, I believe. And I think he was the first one to actually do this in the 3-lap world record. And it was faster by a whole lot compared to doing the older world record strategy of doing the ending shroom right before the finish line on all 3 laps of 1 mushroom. So yeah, doing the wheelie strategy here in the shroomless lap 3, I think is faster overall. And I think that might be what is required for the 146 to actually happen. And I think, oh man, Will this be done? All right, I'm going to say it right here. It'll be done. 146 will happen in 2021. That is my prediction as of right now. Heading down to Moonview Highway, we have a 143094, also done by Luke, and this was performed on October 1st of 2020. And 2020 saw a lot of improvement with also newer strategies for Moonview Highway. Strategies that Luke is currently not opting to use at this point after getting this world record back. But yeah, one of the last remaining 2018 world records was actually on this track by Luke, and it was defeated by Justin in the later part of 2020 with some newer strategies. And definitely a 142 will happen. I think it's going to happen in 2021. Luke had a fail here where he unfortunately just barely drifted over the zipper, not this one, but this one right over here on lap 3. And I don't know how it didn't register on that fail that he had. And when it was corrected, the run was like a 142.955 or something like that. So yeah, at this point, definitely the elusive 142 will definitely happen. And I think 2021 is the year for that insane barrier to be met. So I think either by Luke or Justin will be the two who will potentially do that during this year. Man, it's crazy because for the longest time, it seemed like 143.3 was just kind of like the limit for a really, really long time. And then I got lowered to like a mid to low 0.2. And then eventually the mid 0.1 that Luke had for quite a long time in 2018. And, you know, Luke doesn't offer any new strategies here in this run. He just kind of optimizes his driving even further. But even then, this is still, you know, one of the most, you know, fun but frustrating tracks to play because the trucks and the cars can pace lock you, especially right here on lap 3. So that truck and boom, that blue car right there. The pace locks are very, very unfortunate, especially in lap 3. It's such a hard lap to play. But 142 is happening, and this year, that is my current prediction. Heading now to Bowser's Castle, we are starting off with the shortcut category of 209074, done by Jared, and this was done on June 27th of 2020. 2020 was the year that Jared got his first world record overall, which was actually on this track with a 209.1 back in May of 2020. And definitely a 208 is most definitely in the cards here. Jared has been grinding this track a bit since I think 2019 into 2020, and Jared has actually been grinding the no glitch category now and has some insane fails on there. And I can't wait to cover the no glitch world record as well on this track after this one, because I think 2021 is a year that that record is taken down. But for now, on this category, just man, this run is absolutely sick. But even then, Jared can definitely get a 208 here. And I think Jared does want to complete the job here of a 208 sometime in the future, from what I can recall. But man, it's just seeing this, you know, the masterful driving onto the geysers there as well is so cool. Getting the low jump in the beginning and those low carpets are actually fairly challenging with the Daisy and the mock bike here. And Jared just does such an excellent job of optimizing his driving here with the terrain. You know, with Daisy's sharper drift, I find it much more awkward to play this track overall, but Jared does such a great job of having very, very fast driving all throughout. And yeah, the shortcuts laps 1 and 2 were so good. I think at the end of lap 2 is where a big mistake happens, I think, from what I can remember. Is it here? Let's see. Yes, so the wheelie doesn't come out, so he's forced to use his mushroom there. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think this run really could have been the 208. I really think so. But the unfortunate circumstance, where they really just did not come out for Jared into lap 3. But even then, fun fact for BC Wii no glitch here. The stream strategy used to use a mushroom at the finish line into a lap like that to avoid the thwomps at a certain pace. So it's not all that much slower, especially when you get the no air and the main turbo fast on the stairs like that for the recovery. But either way though, this is still a very sick time. But I think Jared will improve this in 2021. That's my current prediction. And now we head to the oldest world record in the current world record timesheet. We have a 220.672 on Bowser's Castle, no shortcut, done by BPDK, and this was done on October 13th of 2018. And whenever I watch this run, it's just something else. Just DK is at some other level on this track. And fun fact, he had a 219 fail here, I think close to 3 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, either or. And, you know, unfortunately, it just seems like he just stopped playing the game after that fail. I don't think it was ever confirmed by DK himself if that fail made him just not play the game anymore, but it's just insane. Just watching DK play this track is just nothing short of just insane. But as I mentioned with BC Wii shortcut with Jared has been getting some insane runs here near the end of 2020 on stream. And I think this is the year that this run is taken down. And I currently have a video bounty on the line. Whoever beats DK's time, I'm making a video on it. It really deserves it, because this time is just something else. Especially not only this time, but DK's skill and his fail that he had at least 2 years ago as well. It's just, I don't know, on this track where it's one of the most tech heavy tracks in the entire game, it's so hard. Like doing that and everything else, it's just so hard to do. It's so wicked hard. There's a reason why this is over 800 days old right now, and it's, you know, it's the oldest world record right now. And I think it's the last remaining 2018 world record. I don't think there's any more 2018 world records. And for good reason. This is just such a sick time. And he's had a fail that would have beat this run by almost a full second, like 2 years ago. So, and he just hasn't played the game since, and that's what it seems like. But yeah, either way, this is, you know, such an insane precedent that was set on this track. And whoever beats this time, I'm gonna make a nice video about it, because this is just, I don't know, just a whole different standard was elevated for a world record time that was done on this track. And, you know, very rarely players have contested even near like this type of pace after like 1.5 laps or so. And now Jared has had just crazy paces now, and I think Jared might be the one to do it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's DK's time, the oldest world record right now. I think this will be taken down in 2021. And now, finishing off the Special Cup, we have a 224.767 on Rainbow Road done by Flair. And this was done only a couple of days ago on December 29th of 2020. December of 2020 was the month that Flair would get his first and second world records overall on this track. Flair's been very, very hard at work on this track, and the efforts have finally paid off. And Flair is just super consistent here. Watching his streams, like he was just pumping out these paces here, which were just so insane, you know, in the past like 1 or 2 months watching his stream. And it's always really cool to see someone finally break through on their efforts and just, you know, get their goal accomplished, you know. So very, very happy for Flair here. And yeah, I know next to nothing about carts, let alone optimizing them for world records. So fun fact, before carts here, bikes were the main dominant factor here up until I believe 2010. And when the moon jump was found, the moon jump strategy with a cart was found, that's when carts really just broke away from bikes here. And it's still one of the most unique runs in the game, where, you know, this is kind of memed as like, you know, Mario Bike Wii from time to time. But even still, this is the overall world record. It's on with a cart in a cart game. Go figure, right? But yeah, I think even so, overall, bikes are still faster by a good amount, but the strategies required are just so hard to do humanly that, you know, carts pull away very convincingly in a human setting. So at this point, I think the current best on splits here give like a 224.3.4 around there, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it's just, you know, one of the biggest things on this track to the untrained eye is, if you notice, for most of the race here, you're actually in a boost, and you're kind of preserving that. If you compare it to like a bike time here, like the fastest bike time is like a low 227, it's like a 224. Just compare. Most of the time with, obviously, this very broken, insane stream strategy with the cart saves so much time. But beyond this point, like the main turbos here and then the tricks here, you're almost always in a boost. So you're not losing that much time at all compared to a bike here. And with what the carts can do, they can do a lot more boosting strategies, at least humanly for now, to have such a much faster pace here compared to a bike. But at this point in 2021, I think this will be improved at least 1 or 2 more times. I think Flair might try a little bit more here, and potentially maybe Ando or Bob or both might come back and might have a karting trio of a battle here on Rainbow Road. That would be super, super cool to see. But for now, that is Rainbow Road and my prediction for 2021. Alright, heading now to the retro track. Starting off in the Shell Cup, we have GCN Peach Beach. Starting with the glitch category is a 1 minute 49 millisecond time done by Arrow, and this was driven on May 24th of 2020. This was definitely a nice surprise back in last year with Arrow coming back and reclaiming the world record once more. I believe Arrow had the world record one other time on this track a couple of years ago, and I definitely didn't see this track going down in the last year. But it's so unfortunate that he just barely missed out the elusive sub 1 minute time. But regardless, this run is awesome. And at this point, it's really all about having just very, very fast glitches for laps 2 and 3. So at this point, if you've never seen this before, this is no stop pretty much. Going into here and just getting that good recovery and that good landing is, I can't even describe how hard that is. I'm not proficient here by any means with the glitch. I've made it before for a run in the past year, and that was me doing it, you know, stopping and slowing down. So this is much, much harder than actually, you know, slowing down for it. So the best splits do give a sub 1 minute time, but at this point, I don't think this will go down in 2021. I believe Breakson tried at least one stream with this in the past couple of months, but I don't know if he's going to entertain it any further. So we might have a surprise improvement by Arrow like it was last year, but if not, I just don't see this being pushed down in the coming year. Heading now to the no glitch category of GCN Peach Beach with a 1:12.770 done by Cole, and this was driven on May 19th of 2020. So both the categories for this track was beaten in the same month of last year, which was pretty interesting to see. With both these older world record holders coming back to their respective categories. And Cole definitely has a strong, rich history here, getting the first 112 here amongst all other records prior to that as well. And with his current run here, he has 2 new strategies, one being the rehop on the single mushroom as you saw just before. That was more so just for consistency's sake, from what I remember Cole saying back last year with his feedback for his run. And also going to the right of the Cataquack with a spin drift on the lap 3 before the last turn. At this point, maybe Cole will decide to try and improve this for his one, yearly improvement to keep that statistic going. Both Cole and Sword have that record still for setting at least one world record per year, except for 1 year. I think they both didn't set a world record in 2016, I think. But every other year for the game's history, they've set at least one world record per year, which is actually insane to be able to say that, But yeah, I believe Cole said even, back last year that he has a lot more room to improve his best known splits for this track. So there's more room for improvement here. So we'll see. I think, honestly, if I were to predict anything, I definitely think Cole would try to improve this at least once in the coming year, as opposed to Luigi Circuit. So it seems like much more worthwhile time sink at this point compared to how optimized he has Luigi Circuit right now. So we'll see what this track brings for both the glitch and the no glitch in the coming year. Heading now to DS Yoshi Falls, we have a 58.648 done by David, and this was set on November 8th of 2020, so done within the past 2 months. And David came back to this track in the past year and reclaimed the world record and also pushed this track into the mid 58.6 territory now at this point. And David wants minimum a 58.5 if my memory serves me right, and he definitely can do so. I think he's failed a couple of runs that were paced for that already in the past year. So I definitely see this going down by at least one improvement in the coming year. I think David will finish the job and get a 58.5 here in the end. So we'll see what happens here. This track is very tricky, especially managing the waterfalls. They're notoriously very, very bumpy, and also the bridge over there as well. It's very hard to get these, parts really, really optimized, because just one small little thing and you can't get like the water glide or the nice drift afterward, especially for the second waterfall. And honestly, I think the second waterfall is more infuriating than the first one. And the the bridge stick right there was notoriously like the most annoying thing way back in the day, but I think at this point, optimizing that waterfall right there kind of takes the cake now at this point as far as a frustrating part to optimize. So, yeah, at this point, I definitely think this will be improved within the coming year, and I think we will see at least a 58.5 being done, so we will see what the next year brings. Heading now to SNES Ghost Valley 2, starting off with the glitch category, we have a 5738 done by Logan, and this was set on October 19th of 2020. This was a really epic run that was set in the last year. It's the first world record that uses the task strategy of glitching backwards towards the last turn, as you'll see right over here. So the very fast first clip across the chasm over here, and then backwards with 2 mushrooms, then landing, turning left to the last turn, hitting the last key checkpoint, stopping, turning around, and the lap counting. So that was definitely a mouthful. But yeah, it's just quite insane to see that actually being done in human runs now. And I definitely think this is a permanent meta shift now for world record attempts here in the future to bring this down lower. Because going for, you know, a 2 for 3 pole clip optimize or even a 3 for 3, you're going to get much less attempts overall with your grind for a very long period of time versus getting a lot more attempts trying this strategy, because if you make the first pole clip, you're turning around and trying the second part instantly right away, as opposed to doing the first pole clip, doing the rest of the lap 1, and then hopefully doing it no stop lap 2, then driving all the way around again, and then trying it lap 3 or even optimizing lap 3. So the turnover for your time sink here at this point is much better served going for this strategy right now. But with all that being said, I believe Logan long-term wants a 49-second time here. However, I would not be surprised at all if he doesn't touch this in the coming year. And I don't know who else is really going to try and, you know, best this. Maybe Justin. I think Justin has dabbled with this a little bit perhaps. But other than that, I don't know who else is really going to try and grind this out. But quite an epic feat that was done in the past year. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if this stands for at least another year or so. Heading now to the no glitch category of SNES Ghost Valley 2, we have a 52781 performed by Blaze, and this was done on May 8th of 2020. This was definitely another surprise in the last year. I think last year I predicted this wouldn't go down during 2020, but Blaze came back with a nice improvement by around 15 milliseconds, I think. And it may not sound like much, but on a short track like this that's already insanely optimized, 15 milliseconds is actually a fairly sizable improvement for sure. At this point, I think this will go down in 2021. I believe Sosis is now second worldwide, just pumping out these insane paces and new overall best known splits. So I think this will go down in the next year at least once. It'll be fun to see Blaze come back to the game and try and best out a battle with Sosis, because that'll be a lot of fun to see. But I definitely think if Sosis doesn't throw in the towel too soon, and he gets the job done here, I think we'll see at least one improvement in 2021. But right now, this is one of the most fun no glitch tracks to watch the world record for, because it's just insanely optimized, getting close to all the corners and things like that. It's just super cool to see. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the coming year. Finishing off the Shell Cup, we have N64 Mario Raceway. We have a 141.335 done by Sosis, and this was performed on September 30th of 2020. This was an awesome feat to see by Sosis. Sosis grinded this for a very long time last year. I think combined maybe like 3 to 4 months consistently, I think, really just chipping away at this and having many insane best known splits here. I think even getting like a 0.7 lap 1, I think, which is just something else to behold, most certainly. But with Sosis getting this world record here, this is actually the first time that Yasha hasn't held at least one record for most of the game's history. I think Yasha has the record by a long shot. I think for like 96% of the game's history overall, Yasha has always held at least one world record. So it's kind of crazy to see that at this point Yasha doesn't hold anything anymore. With Yasha also losing on Jungle Parkway in the past year. I think it was that, and Raceway has its last 2 world records that were to go down in the last year for that mark to be met. But at this point, this track is very hard to optimize, especially for the double pipes and also the little mini wheelies before the double main turbo back over there actually mattering now. you know, apart from that, I definitely think a 141 point high one or a low point two is in the cards for either Sosis or Vincent if Vincent were to pick this up once more. But right now, this was such a crazy pace entering lap 3 ahead of Yasha's run where Sosis thankfully held it together for the very end. I think it's right by the pipe tricks lap 3 is where this kind of breaks down a little bit, but it was still good enough in the end to be the new world record. So yeah, will this be improved in 2021? I think it might. I'm going to say it is. I think Sosis or Vincent will improve this at least once. That's my prediction right now, and we'll see what happens. Alright, up next we have the Banana Cup, starting off on N64 Sherbet Land on the glitch category. We have a 1:16.907 done by Arthur, and this was done on August 13th of 2020. This was Arthur's first world record overall, so once more congrats to you, Arthur, for doing it in style on such a hard category such as this. And at this point, I'm going to predict this will not go down in the next year. There is more room for improvement for faster alignments and doing the mushroom right away. Like that could have been done a little bit faster, but of course you gotta be precise and make your alignment nice and proper to make these for both laps where you're going for it. But at this point, I just don't think anyone's gonna try for it in 2021. This is also the first world record where the glitch is done on laps 1 and 3 instead of laps 1 and 2. I don't think there's an actual speed difference between the two. I think it was just personal preference for nerves for Arthur, I believe. And the one mushroom to get the pole clip and to land for the respawn, I think is the more precise clip versus the clip for the two mushrooms and landing back on the track, as far as I'm aware. You guys who are more proficient at this than I am could correct me in the comments below, but I'm pretty sure the one shroom clip, no matter whether you're landing back with a task strategy or doing it humanly and going like this, you go far enough, just barely not landing, but going like that, you can actually fall down, go behind, hit the last key checkpoint, and then go back for the run to count. So yeah, that is definitely the hardest part in the entire run, I think. And couple that with trying again the very precise clip to get the two Sherman to land back on the track. At this point, I just don't see this going down in the next year. But I'm happy to be proven wrong, so we'll see what 2021 brings for this track on the glitch category. And now we have N64 Sherbet Land. We have a 2:03.750 done by Sosis, and this was done on July 10th of 2019. And it's still wicked to see a mid 2:03.7 here. I just can't believe that this was pushed down as much as it has been right now. And I believe Sosis is still almost half a second ahead of second worldwide. It's at least by more than almost 0.4 at the very least if my memory serves me right. And I don't see this going down anymore in the coming year. I don't think Sosis would come back to this randomly throughout the year, and I don't think anyone is actively trying to push into even the 203 barrier at this point, let alone going to where it is right now with a 750. And gosh, this run is just so good. The driving is spectacular, and I guess a decent amount of chain wheelies, but not all of them. There's still more room for improvement with the chains for sure. At this point, you need the driving to be so pristine on all 3 laps with taking the crack drifts like that, but also nailing the majority of the chain wheelies on this track. I think, fun fact, this track has the most amount of chain wheelies out of any other track in the entire game for time trials. I think in total this has maybe 15 to 18 chains, maybe? I think it's around 15, not exactly 18. I think it's 15. Either way, it's still a lot of chains to time, and that's a lot more time saved to be had overall. But at this point, Sosis has such amazing driving here with the consistency that he has that I don't see this being taken down in the coming year. I just don't see it. But I think the current best zone splits to get maybe like a 203.4 or a lower 0.5, I think. But man, look at that mushroom, just, oh my gosh, so insane, man, so insane. But yeah, even though there's around at least 15 or so chains in the entirety of this run, the chains don't cost as much because of the Magic Cruiser's acceleration. But even then, even still, it's still room for time save at this point. So it's kind of becoming a mandatory requirement to get at least a majority of the fold chains and really, really, really fast driving. So we'll see what the next year brings here for No Glitch on N64 Sherbet Land. Up next, we have GBA Shy Guy Beach with a 121.496, also done by Sosis, and this was driven on January 13th of 2019. So it's one of the older world records now and the overall world record timesheet. And at this point, will this be beaten in 2021? I don't know. I'm gonna say yes. I think someone other than Sosis will contend the record here in the coming year. I believe Dara has a recent improvement, I think either 3rd or 4th worldwide here. So I wonder if Dara is actively going for this at this point. I'm not really all that sure. But I'm going to say someone will contend this in the coming year. That's my current prediction. At least as it stands right now, a 121.4 on this track is just something else. Man, oh my gosh. I just don't even know what to say. Just, you know, it's a funny history here because this track was originally a Magic Cruiser track for quite a while, and then eventually it turned to Spear, but then it turned back to Magic Cruiser because a little, pink ramp mini jump that the Spear would do, the Magic Cruiser never did. So the Magic Cruiser started doing it, and players went back to Magic Cruiser for world record attempts, and that went down a little bit more. And eventually the Spear came back once more, got the first 121, so on and so forth. So it's been quite a crazy history here with the vehicles going back and forth. But at this point, anything below a 121.5 is just something else at this point. But there is more room for improvement here. I think Sosis lost the most amount of time on lap 2 with that big wheelie nudge right before the little pink ramp. But other than that, I'm going to say at least one person will contend this record in the next year. That's my current prediction. Up next, we have DS Delfino Square. We have a 204.208 done by Luke, and this was set on August 3rd of 2020. And this run is stupidly strong. I don't see this being beaten for quite a long time. I'm actually surprised that Luke came back to try to improve this sporadically out of the blue, because already his 296 was already very, very strong as it was. And he just comes back and beats it by almost 0.1. So at this point, I think it's really it's beyond splitting hairs for an improvement here. I think maybe at human maximum without any strategy change, like a very low 204.1, that's kind of, a bit of a stretch. I just don't see like a high 204.0 being done here without any new strategy changes. I can't articulate enough how strong this run currently is. So at this point, the next strategies to be done on this track would be the shroomless dock jump. And I believe that saves at least half a second to maybe 1 full second per lap if it's done very, very well. But it is extremely hard to do. But I think whenever someone eventually beats this record with the shroomless dock jump, that's when the can of worms will be opened and more people will try out doing the shroomless dock jump, and we'll see another spree of improving this track once more down a lot further. But as it stands right now, I think this could stand for an incredibly long period of time. This is such an incredible time as it is right now. But yeah, I think if someone were to do a 3-for-3 very good shroomless dock jump run, it would be like a mid 201, I think. I'm pretty sure it's a solid 1 second per lap at its optimum that it stays over not doing it. But it's so hard, not from the standpoint of actually making it, it's the recovery afterward where you can make it shroomless, but you need that recovery going into where you do the shroom in the mud. And that's always the hardest part. I think players have tried it with the bullet bike, and the bullet bike just loses so much time versus the flame runner across the entirety of the rest of the track, so it's not even worth it at this point. So I don't know if mock bike is a thing here to make that, and maybe that's a little bit faster than racing around with the bullet bike to try and do the shroomless dock. But as it stands, I think this could stand for a very long time, and maybe it'll stand until someone tries doing the shroomless dock in a run. So we'll see what happens in the coming year. And wrapping up the Banana Cup, we have GCN Waluigi Stadium. Starting off on the glitch category, we have a 144.279 done by Logan, and this was done on July 29th of 2020. This was one of the most exciting developments in all of the last year, with humans finally doing this glitch humanly, and it's just crazy, you know, going from what seemed like an impossible feat to glitches humanly to all the different strategies done to actually get this done in RTA. Just look at this, like, guaranteed some of you watching right now have never seen that ever before, and it's just so crazy. So after all of that, you have to go back far enough to hit the last key checkpoint to make sure the lap actually counts. And when you cross the finish line, the lap actually counts. Man, this is one of my favorite records to watch by far. And I actually made a full detailed video back last year of the history of glitching this track humanly. I think it's still one of my best made videos. I had a ton of help from many of our community members on the project, so I'll have that linked in the description down below. It's definitely worth a watch by far, to see all the different iterations of trying to glitch this track humanly and seeing what actually was the strategy to actually work again, because there was a different strategy before this one that players were trying, and they got very, very close, but they couldn't make it by like a bike length or something like that, and then the current strategy was found. So these developments were so exciting in the past year, and I'm just even more optimistic that more perceived like impossible tracks to glitch humanly will be done in the coming years. And there's been more developments actually on Rainbow Road in the end of last year with the Quacker, getting like more higher like airtime to do that track. So I think next year that track will be done humanly with a glitch, among other tracks that might go down for the first time humanly to a glitch. But yeah, that's currently where it stands right now. More room for improvement here, at least maybe like 1 or 2 seconds or so. I believe theoretically this can be done with 1 mushroom per lap, so a 3 for 3 is definitely possible. I think my memory serves me right on that fact. But either way, this is one of the most insanely hard things to do in the entire game, and Logan is one of the glitch masters in this game, especially with time trials, and I think he ranks this as second hardest only to Rainbow Road, perhaps. If not, it's definitely like a top 3 hardest glitch to perform. So yeah, crazy stuff in the past year here. Whether this goes down in the coming year, maybe not really too sure. It's gonna be like a coin toss. I'm gonna say maybe. I'm not saying yes or no, just a maybe. And now we have the no glitch category of GCN Waluigi Stadium with a 148.443 done by Ace, and this was done on April 16th of 2020. Ace came back and reclaimed the world record here back in 2020, and it still stood since his record here. And this run is awesome. It unfortunately has a bad landing on the last trick all 3 laps, but apart from that, this run is awesome. At this point, I think humans can definitely do at least like a 148.2 practically. Maybe like a couple years down the line, I think a 147 will happen by a human. It's going to require like a low 0.2 or 0.1 lap 1, and then like 35.8 on laps 2 and 3. And at this point, I think if my memory serves me right, I think there's never been a 35-second lap done in a world record run. It has been done, you know, in fails and things like that, but as far as an actual world record, it hasn't actually happened as of yet. But I believe the current best on splits do give a 147, and I think at this point this will definitely go down in the coming year. Actually, the former world record holder Connor, he did some streams back in the end of last year, alternating between Mushroom Gorge, I think, yeah, Mushroom Gorge and this track, starting this up once more, throwing that into his track mix. So I don't think Ace has been playing since his record, but if Ace were to come back, maybe we'll see like a nice little rivalry between Connor and Ace if Connor could do the job and reclaim the world record here. But this track is definitely the most tech-heavy track in the entire game, bar none. I think most people will definitely agree with me when I say that. One of the most visually appealing and satisfying tracks to watch when someone does it very, very well, such as Ace and Connor, etc., etc. But man, just this track is so much fun to play. It's so hard, but it makes pulling things off even more satisfying because you know how hard it's actually pull off all these different strategies. So yeah, awesome run here by Ace. I think this will go down at least once or twice in the coming year. We'll see. Now we arrive to the Leaf Cup. Starting off on DS Desert Hills, on the shortcut category, we have a 131.016 done by Logan, and this was done on April 26th of 2020. So this had a couple improvements in the past year between Logan, Breakson, and David. And room for improvement overall, there's still a lot more to be done here. I think theoretically it's by at least a second and a half if you get the lucky cut on all 3 laps. Now, some of you may not know what the lucky cut actually is, quote unquote lucky cut. So what happens is you're kind of flying over the out of bounds sand on the right hand side, which you'll see again on laps 2 and 3. And if you land on a specific part of that, you're actually not counted as out of bounds, and you actually preserve a whole lot of your speed because one of the hardest things is having a full max speed out of the cut and doing another drift. So if you see over here, see how you drop down to like below 50 kilometers per hour? When you get the quote-unquote lucky cut or lucky glitch, you have your speed preserved. You actually bounce off and land back on the normal road, and you're back at normal speed as it is right away. So that saves a lot of time. I think over half a second, if not more, if you get a really good one per 1 lap. So there's still theoretically a lot of room for improvement here, but at this point, I think this will stand in the coming year. Definitely a couple players are capable of improving it, but I think this will stand for a while. This is a very, very good 3-for-3 non-lucky cut run. And also lap 3, the little fire snakes were always a problem with the entry into the the clip on laps 3 notoriously for quite a while. So this was, I think, the first one where Logan actually managed it on lap 3 successfully. So we'll see what happens in the next year, but I don't think this will go down in 2021. And now we have the no shortcut category of DS Desert Hills with a 134.397 done by Sosis, and this was done on March 14th of 2020. And I actually like to rewatch a lot of older world records and current world records at any point throughout the year. And I actually rewatched this run not too long ago. And this run is awesome. For 2-for-3 lucky wheelie cuts, this run is insanely strong. Now, some of you may not know what the wheelie cut is on this category, so I'll explain. On laps 1 and 2, you'll see when Sosis does a shroom, he maintains a wheelie throughout both the first sand mound and the second one as well. And what's important is you're preserving your speed throughout the entire thing here. So you're 120, 96, 90, like you can see visually you're going very, very fast through the air. Now you're going to see that again where he gets on lap 2. Watch for lap 3, the sheer difference, not only by the speed on the speedometer, but also visually how it looks on the screen, because the lucky wheelie cut saves, I think, close to 0.3 for 1 lap compared to not getting it. And they call it the lucky cut because, that's kind of what it's deemed as. I think I've talked to some tool-assisted speedrunners in the past, and I think they said as well that even doing it with tasks frame by frame is pretty hard to get that as well, frame by frame, optimizing that to get it in the first place. So there's no real consistent way to get it in runs, which is why this has not been done 3-for-3 in a run as of yet. I think if anyone gets a 3-for-3 lucky wheelie cut run in the future, they'll get almost a 133, and I think that's where the best known splits are at nearly at this point. But this will not go down in the next year, I don't think so. This run is sick for a 2-for-3 wheelie cut run, and at this point, I think it's going to require a 3-for-3, but we'll see what happens in 2021. Up next, we have GBA Bowser Castle 3. On the shortcut category, we have a 157.474. This is done by Breakson and set on October 30th of 2020. This was awesome, a very hype run in the past year, because this is the first world record that now does 1-for-3 shroomless cuts. And at this point, I think this is a permanent meta shift for BC3 shortcut world records. This can still be beaten with 3-for-3 normal cuts, but good luck because that is very, very hard. Luke had, I think, a low 157.6 with 3-for-3 normal shrooms, and that was already a wicked run as it was. And to beat a 474, you need 3-for-3 really awesome normal shrooms and most of the chain wheelies amongst awesome consistent driving in part as well. So I think time is better suited going for at least 1-for-3 shroomless cuts here at this point to take down a world record. So Breakson does 2 shrooms on lap 1 to be able to go under the thwomp here on lap 2 before the yellow bumper tricks. And I believe Breakson said that he does the shroomless on lap 2 because of his nerves. He's able to better manage them doing it on lap 2 as opposed to lap 1. So look at this. And barely doesn't hit the wall, and now check this out. Oh my gosh, man. That's still one of the craziest sequences I've ever seen in a world record run or any run in general on this track or any track at all. Like that's, oh man, that is insane. That is just insane. And now Breakson has one more extra mushroom for doing 1 lap shroomless, and he does the normal shroom cut on lap 3. And it's good enough to be the overall world record with a 1:57.474. So at this point, will this be improved in 2021? I'm not all that sure. I really wouldn't be surprised if this stands for quite some time, because doing the shroomless cut is insanely hard to do, let alone doing it once and then doing the normal shroom cut on the other 2 laps, which is already hard enough in of itself. And doing it is one thing, but optimizing it is another thing. So at this point, I don't think this will go down in the coming year, but we'll see. And now we have the no shortcut category of GBA Bowser Castle 3. We have a 2:16.514 done by Luke, and Luke set this on November 29th of 2020. This category had a good amount of improvement in the past year, and actually one of the last remaining 2017 world records were taken down on this category in the past year. It was this category, I think it was Peach Beach Glitch and also Jungle Parkway Glitch. I think those 3 were the last 3 remaining 2017 world records in the overall world record timesheet, and all 3 of them were taken down during 2020. So 2020 had a bit less amount of world records compared to 2019, but most of the tracks and categories had at least 1 improvement in the past year, which is actually insane with where the tracks are at this point, almost 13 years after the game's release in April 2008. And for this category, I think there's a bit more room for improvement, but it's very, very hard to do, obviously. I believe Luke wants at least a 0.4, so unfortunately the 514 is just so close to completing that goal from getting at least a 0.4 here. But the biggest sources of time save or loss are the chain wheelies, of course, but also these low jumps here. So to the untrained eye, it looks like you're getting lower tricks than all the bumper tricks, but if you actually look a little bit closely, it depends on how soon you land onto the following platform. Pretty much you want to land as soon as possible on the following platform and wheelie right away, and that saves you the most amount of time. And if you mistime it a little bit later or a little bit too early, you either fall off too early or you get more unwanted air time, which also loses you time in the end anyway. So apart from that, Luke is also doing the drifting low jump on the ramp after those tricks on all 3 laps, and I think that saves a decent amount of time as well. So I think that's going to open the door for maybe like a 2:16.3 at least to be done humanly, I feel. And we'll see what happens in the coming year. I think definitely a couple players can improve this. Luke himself, I believe if Sword and also Havoc come back actively, all 3 could contend for this at one time, which is really, really cool to see. But at this point, this is also a very strong time as it is right now, with hitting a mid 0.3 lap 2, so that's a very epic lap in of itself. But yeah, I think this will go down at least one time in 2021, so we'll see what happens here. Now we head to N64 DK Jungle Parkway. Starting off on the glitch category, we have a 42.844 done by Invincible, set on December 21st of 2020, so less than 2 weeks ago. And I was correct, so this category had one of the last remaining 2017 world records, and it was taken down in the past year by Invincible himself, actually. So very exciting developments here in the past year. And at this point, I think this track will go down at least once or twice in 2021. Before Invincible set this time, Bryce finally got this world record for the first time himself. I think like 2 or 3 days before Invincible got this newer time. And so I think if both Bryce and Invincible keep playing this, this might go down a couple of times in 2021, so we'll see. I think also Breakson did at least one stream of this in 2020, I think randomly perhaps. If not, it was Peach Beach. I think it was one of the two, or both. I'm not really all that sure at this point. But yeah, this track is really nutty with the glitch right now, but I think there's more time to be improved here, so we'll see what happens in the coming year. And now we have the no glitch category of N64 DK's Jungle Parkway. We have a 2:11:265 done by Luke, and this was done on July 29th of 2020. This was definitely one of the more surprising records as well in the past year. Yasha's run here was done in 2018, so this was one of the last remaining 2018 world records that were defeated in the past year. And Luke came along and actually did a new strategy after the cannon. I think he does it on 2 out of 3 laps, I believe, if my memory serves me right. I think the alignment was off on 1 lap, but after the cannon here, there's actually a little mini corner cut that's done right over here. So if you start to drift a little bit early, you go airborne and cut off that little corner over there. And that actually saves a decent chunk of time. And Luke did enough to have some very solid driving in all 3 laps and had a pretty good improvement here. I think it's by almost 200 milliseconds overall on Yasha's time. And I think long term, I believe Luke says he does want a 210 here, which would be such an insane run to see. Seeing a 210 here, we've never even fathomed that to actually be a thing that's possible at this point. But yeah, this track is a lot of fun to play. I personally think it's one of the most fun mock bike tracks to play with the driving in of itself. Just the unfortunate circumstance of this shroom on the end of all 3 laps is just so infuriating. And as mentioned too, yeah, I thought there was 1 lap where Luke doesn't do the little corner cut. So I think maybe the alignment was off, or I forget the actual circumstance if he actually purposely didn't go for that or not. But regardless, as mentioned before, this mushroom here at the end of these runs is notoriously very, very difficult to do. The mud at the end is so awkwardly sloped and textured and things like that, and getting a clean turn, a clean drift in the shroom and to go flat on the outside and not fly all the way into the grass or head into the cave at the end, it's just so hard to do properly. So at this point, will this be improved in 2021? I am going to say yes. I think Luke will come back to this in 2021. I have a good feeling. I think he will. I think this is one track where he might just try and just gun for the 210 and try and leave it there after that. And I think once a 210 happens here, it's going to be a long time before it's ever improved once more. I believe there is another corner cut that's done in the middle of the lap, but it's a lot harder than the little mini one that's done in this run. But I think that's the next thing to be done in runs to have even more of time save. I think if both of those are done, maybe like a 209 is possible, I think, because I think the one in the middle of the lap saves even more than this little mini one at the beginning after the cannon, I think. So the potential is there for more time save, but as it stands right now, this is a very, very good run. So we'll see what 2021 brings here on this category. And finishing off the Leaf Cup, we have GCN Mario Circuit. We have a 1:30:612, and this is done by Luke as well. And he set this run on November 8th of 2019. And I'm definitely not surprised that this was not improved in the past year. I think with most of the tracks that weren't improved in the past year, I wasn't surprised that they stood in the past year, because all these tracks, all these times were very, very strong to begin with, and this one being no different. This track is notoriously very frustrating to play. A lot of quote-unquote human RNG for many parts of this track, in particular for getting airtime into the mushroom and out of the mushroom. I myself have had the world record here multiple times, and I can speak to that very, very well. This track is very frustrating to play. It's quite unfortunate because this track is so much fun to play. It can be so pure and enjoyable to play, but when you actually feel, pure enjoyment playing this track is far and few between. So, yeah, with that in mind, I would not be surprised if this stands for even multiple years, I think. If Luke doesn't come out to improve it further, I mean, I could still get it myself. Demon could get it. Liam could do it if he comes back to playing the game once more. But as it stands right now, none of those things are happening currently. So, I mean, if Luke were to come back, he could definitely get like a 130.4, I think. This run has more room for improvement for sure. But it's just a matter of stringing that optimized run together with all these inconsistent variables at this point is really asking for a lot. Also, that Piranha on lap 3, I forgot about that. That's kind of like a mini pace lock right now at this point. So just gotta, you know, be fast and try and beat that Piranha on lap 3, or just finagle your alignment into that. But yeah, we'll see what 2021 brings here. Definitely improvement for definitely potential to improve this in the coming year, but I would not be surprised at all, as mentioned before, if this stands for at least one more year or even longer than that. So we'll see. And the last cup, we have the Lightning Cup, fellas. We're at the very end of this video with a couple more tracks to go. Starting off on SNES Mario Circuit 3, we have a 117.889, also done by Luke, and this was set on October 28th of 2019. And at this point, I think this will stand for quite some time. I don't think Luke will come back to this track for any particular reason. I think a 117.8 is such a wicked time. I think this was precisely Luke's goal when he set it, and I think this is only like 70 or 60 milliseconds off the best known splits. So it is extremely optimized. This is the most, I guess, precision based track in the game. Everything is completely flat. There's one boost panel right over there. There's no dynamic changes in terrain or anything else like that. This is purely just a pure precision driving track. And the only thing limiting you is just how fast you do your main turbos, your soft drifts, the mushroom, things like that. And at this point, I think this will stand for quite some time. I think Luke can squeeze out a little bit more, because I think he had some paces ever so slightly faster than this before setting this time. I could be wrong, but at least when he set this run, he was streaming his attempts a lot on his stream. And I think maybe like an 870-ish or 860-ish is in the cards at like near maximum, but beyond that, I mean, there's no more strategies to be done on this track, I think. So, I mean, we'll see. I don't think this will go down in 2021. That's my prediction right now. So, we will see. Up next, we have DS Beach Gardens. We have a 158.986. This is done by King Alex, and this was set on November 14th of 2020. The past year was big for this track, with the first 158 happening, which is this run right here, and also the second player ever to get the world record here with automatic. So in this track's past, only Brett was the one to get the world record with automatic drift at any point in the world record history here. So Alex is the second person to successfully learn the automatic drifting strategy here, which is very, very hard to do. And it's just insane to see the 158 finally happening here. I mean, I remember when the first 2-minute happened and the first 159, and I always wrote off 158 ever happening from as far back as I can really remember. So seeing this threshold being met now is just nothing short of insane. And we're kind of near the absolute maximum for a pace lock now, because as we'll see on lap 3, this is almost like a mini auto scroller, quote unquote, until the lap 3 chain chop and the hedge maze, because I mean, you can be like somewhat slower than your fastest pace, but then if you go very, very fast, I mean, you're going to head into the chain chop on lap 3. And conversely, if you go very, very fast on laps 1 and 2, and even go a little bit slower on lap 3, you can probably just smack right into the chain chop at this point. So I think this is going to stand for quite some time. I don't think Brett is playing number 1. Number 2, I don't think Alex wants to do this anymore. I don't think so. I think he's done here, and I want to blame him for that at all, for going this for so long. But other than that, I just don't see anyone else getting close to this. I mean, manual drift is not feasible anymore humanly to overtake automatic anymore. And just look at how close Alex gets to that chain chomp right there, and having like a fairly solid ending here. At least with Alex's feedback, I believe Alex said for this lap 3, the ending is ever so slightly improvable, but at this point, like near absolute, maximum, like a very high 0.8 or a low 0.9 is the perceived maximum right now for this track, with the chain chomp being a pace lock on lap 3. But even then, manual has no chance of getting the world record here anymore, humanly, unless some strategies are changed or discovered. But overall, epic feat that was done in 2020, And I think this could stand for multiple years at this point. So we'll see what happens. But my prediction, this will not go down in 2021. Next up on GCN DK Mountain, we have a 158.772 on the glitch category done by Logan. And this was set on January 29th of 2019. And this run is very, very strong. I think this is also one of the most underrated world records right now out of all the tracks. This is going to be very, very hard to beat. When Logan set this run, he beat his previous world record by over half a second and gained the first 158 run overall on this track in this category. And this is very, very hard to improve. I'm just going to say it as it is. The glitches are done very, very well, and the recoveries are excellent all 3 laps here. And the driving is also spot on for almost this entire run. And I think Logan initially pioneered that little main turbo strat going into the alignment for the Sherman all 3 laps, which I think that optimization of the mountain driving, I think two or 3 years ago, really helped to propel how fast you can do laps here on GCN DK Mountain. Because before doing that main turbo strategy, getting a very good alignment into the shroom and not losing a lot of time based on how bouncy things are, it was so hard to do. So not only is the alignment better and more consistent with this strategy, we also are going even faster by having a main turbo and a wheelie going very, very fast through the air and having your alignment here very, very nicely. So at this point, I think Logan has no reason to come back to this track. I'm sure he's probably still very content with this time, and I just don't see anyone else really contesting this time for quite a while. I think this could really stand for multiple years, I think, at this point. The hardest part isn't exactly making it through the clip and the wall anymore. It's really the recovery aspect and having that optimized. If you look closely, the recovery for Logan's shortcut all 3 laps are just insane. They're insanely fast. And yeah, I think at this point this will stand for multiple years, I think. But we'll see what happens here. But I mean, just look at that. I mean, super ideal, all 3 laps. Like, I don't see this being beaten for quite some time. So we'll see what 2021 brings. But again, I would not be surprised if this stands for multiple years. And now we have the no glitch category of GCN DK Mountain. We have a 205.194, also done by Logan. This one is set on September 29th of 2019. And I think if any record here is beaten first, it's actually going to be the glitch run. I really think so. Because this run has an insane strategy that's done on lap 3. Where you release your main turbo into the shortcut and you get like a really fast clip downward, like straight down at maximal speed. And it saves, I think, close to maybe half a second, I think, for 1 lap. And it's such a hard thing to do that I don't think anyone's going to purposely go for that unless they're like in like a failed run or something. I think it's still technically possible to beat this without getting the lucky shortcut on any 1 lap, but that is just asking for too much at this point, I think. I think with this run being done with that strategy in lap 3, I think that was also a permanent meta shift here, in my opinion. I think it's going to be more suited trying to find a semi-reliable strategy to get that at least one lap of a run, maybe like once every like couple of days or something, just to be able to contend this record here. Because Logan's lap 3 is like a 41.2, and that's just absurd. Like, an astonishingly amazing lap without that strategy is like a mid 41.6, and that's asking for a lot. And lap 3 was a 41.2. So, and that's just with it being done in 1 lap, you know? So, yeah, at this point, I don't see this going down for quite a while. I think if Logan were to return to any category here, it would actually be in the glitch category before this one. I think, just being honest, because as mentioned before, I think this improved the world record by quite a bit, which Logan held before this time anyway. And I don't think anyone's purposely trying to go for this strat. So just look at this. Check this out. You see how fast that is compared to what was happening on laps 1 and 2? Like, And I'm sure that that approach could be optimized even further to gain even more time. So yeah, I think at this point, this is going to stand for quite some time. I don't see any category in this track being improved in the coming year. Alrighty, if you guys made it with me this entire journey, we're now at the end, the last track, N64 Bowser Castle, and the newly accomplished glitch that happened in December. Logan is the first person to successfully glitch N64 Bowser Castle in real time, getting a 2:25.84 on December 17th. And I'm just going to let this roll for the beginning because this is such a wicked feat. And actually, earlier in this video, I talked about, I did a video on the history of glitching GCN Waluigi Stadium humanly. And I'm going to be making a video now on this track that's coming out in the near future. So just look at that. You get the barrel roll off the wall, and you get a clip where it gives you airtime and you clip off the pole. You get far enough to go back to where the checkpoints actually make sense for making the lap count. You go all the way backwards again to hit the last key checkpoint, and then the lap eventually counts. And Logan grinded this such a hard amount right when this was proven to be RTA viable. Actually, a lot of cool, interesting shortcut and glitch variations and theories that happen, through most of the game's history. A couple of things were found specifically on the spiral, with getting a respawn at the top of the spiral. And then a lot more recently, being able to clip off of that pole was actually found with getting rapid fire hop off of the bridge in the beginning, and with the super grind, and then being ejected out from the ground and clipping the pole that way. And of course, doing that RTA is not an RTA viable strat, pretty much, not practically anyway. So again, like I think I mentioned in the GCN Waluigi Stadium history video, there's more than one way to do something, and this most definitely solidifies that fact as well. So this is such a wicked accomplishment that was, performed in 2020 by Logan. And I'm sure 2021, we're going to see the first person glitch Rainbow Roads successfully with the recent Quacker strategies on there for more airtime. And two people on that track actually made it and landed the glitch, and they passed the finish line at like sub 20 seconds each, but they got no lap count based on how tricky those checkpoints are over there. But yeah, for this run, this is actually an extremely strong run for the first glitch run ever. Not only for doing the glitch, but the no glitch driving with the spear was pretty difficult on this track on laps 2 and 3, with making this for the first time, first person in the world to do it. This is really, really strong for the first glitch run to be done. So hats off and massive props here to Logan for this wicked precedent that was set in 2020. So whether this is done in 2021, I mean, we'll see what happens here. At the very least, thankfully, this is done right in the very beginning of the lap, like the first 4 or 5 seconds after the setup. So the turnaround for frequent attempts is there, instead of driving the entire lap around and doing a different glitch on a different track in comparison for the time stake for grinding out multiple attempts and getting a shot at actually pulling it off. So yeah, at this point, I mean, maybe someone else will come around and try and grind as much as Logan did to pull this off. But regardless, such an epic feat that happened right at the end of 2020. And I'm sure, in 2021, we'll have at least one more track that hasn't been done humanly yet, be done in real time, which I think is Rainbow Road. That's my prediction right now. But massive props to Logan here for doing this at the end of 2020. And last but not least, we now have the newly established no glitch category on N64 Bowser Castle. Quite crazy to be saying that. We have a 2:30.738 set by Luke, and this was done on March 5th of 2020. And this run is awesome. It's pretty consistent, but it's still improvable for Luke. And definitely, I feel Luke can definitely get like a 2:30.5 at the very least. I feel like if you were to never play this track ever again, this would just stand for such a long time. I mean, if I were to grind myself for multiple months, I could probably maybe get it back. I've had this world record here a couple times in the past too. But this is very nearly out of my reach as it is right now at a 0.7. And there's a lot of awesome players here that are all capable of at least like a 2:30.9. But you know, almost a 230.6, and Luke being Luke with his skill set, he can still do a lot more here for sure. But whether he would come out to this or not, you know, is to be determined. But as mentioned, if this were to stand as it is right now, this could really stand for an incredibly long time. So I think at this point, there's no real reason for him to come back and play the track from being still pretty much almost half a second, like a clear 0.5 ahead of second place. He's not being contested, so I don't see why he'll come back and play us again. But this run is incredibly solid, very, very consistent, and for the longest time when I was grinding for my world records here a couple of times back in the day, many years ago, the thwomps are always an issue on lap 3, and I always knew at least a very low 231 would happen automatically going to the left of the sliding thwomps in lap 3, and eventually it happened based on my prediction, and I always knew a 230 would happen here, and it did, and even more improvement has been happening here, and Luke just pushed this to a whole different level when he's picked this up when he has. So quite an awesome run. I really enjoy watching this back from time to time. Just seeing the excellence of his driving and consistency overall. Just awesome player all around. But yeah, I don't see why this would go down in 2021. Again, being pretty much over half a second to have second place. No one's getting close to this at all right now. But yeah. With that in mind, guys, thank you for sticking around this, you know, almost pretty sure it's probably going to be at least like over 2 hours or so, or close to that at the very least. So, yeah, if you guys are new here to the channel, I upload pretty frequently on the YouTube now and also stream frequently on Twitch. So be sure to subscribe, like the videos. Also follow me on Twitch to see the live streams. A lot more time trial and Mario Kart Wii content in 2021. Happy New Year, happy and healthy to all of you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy watching this. And with that, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next upload sometime very soon. Take care.